What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you live from Long Beach. I hope that you guys are enjoying yourself. It is a great day for grappling. We are here for the pre-show, the official pre-show for Subversiv Fight Club. We hope that you're having a great day. And yes, I brought some friends to join me. But first, I mean, look at this establishment. It looks amazing. See the little billboard behind me? We got a little LED wall that we can play with right now. We can put up cool, look at that. I don't even need to do that. My guys just put up smiley faces for no reason. What else we got? We got aliens to welcome our 10th planet friends, make them feel more comfortable. Hey, cut the Illuminati stuff. We didn't talk about that. Bro. We can't be showing that. Anyway, what I want to say is, if you haven't gotten tickets, you can go to subversivebjj.com, get yourself some tickets, see it live. We have a few tickets remaining, but if you can't do that, we're going to be on YouTube tonight at 6 p.m. West Coast time. Stay tuned for that. And yes, I did bring my friends. They're Skyping in. A dated technology that's going to die soon. They're zooming in right now. So why don't we say hello first and foremost to our good pal, Tim Freeman. Tim, how are you doing today, sir?
Hey, what's going on, Raph? It's great to see you. The venue's looking fantastic. For a split second, I'm like, that dirty dog's at the Sphere right now. But it looked good, man. I think it's going to be a great presentation. I'm stoked for the event tonight. I'm glad to be back with you and our partner, Kevin, on another episode of The Bullpen, man.
Beautiful. And speaking of, why don't we go ahead and say hello to Kevin. Kevin, how are you doing, good sir?
I'm doing great, man. It's good to be here. I'm excited to be on. Let me move this guy right here. I'm excited to be a part of this little pre-show. Subversiv is a really cool event. I'm stoked.
Very nice to hear that. Gentlemen, you know, before we even get to Subversiv business, I just wanted to ask, Tim, did you get the chance to see yesterday's Fight Pass Invitational?
You know what? I actually did not. And I hate to say that, but I did not. I've been sitting on it, and I was actually hoping that we didn't talk about it today, but I don't even know the results yet. I've been avoiding it.
I was about to say, I got a crash course into how your wife must have to deal with things when you're just like, oh, I was hoping you weren't going to bring that up. Oh, man, no. I can tell you guys this. I had the opportunity yesterday after doing some work here at the event center. I was doing some work at our Airbnb, and I was watching it. And shout out to our friends over at the Fight Pass Invitational. Top to bottom, a very, very good card. Of course, headlined by Victor Hugo getting a submission win over Nicky Rod. That was very impressive. Big shout outs to our friends, Alex Enriquez, who went out there, performed, killed it. Killed it. So happy for good things for her. And then additionally down the line, we also saw Nathan Haddad, and he looked really, really good. And he didn't quite get the decision, but a very solid presentation from him. Renato Canuto also announced that he will be going into MMA. So he's been teasing it, but he says now is the time, and I'm very happy to see that for him.
He's too nice for that, man. He's too nice for that.
Now, Kevin, are you signposting this because niceness may be an issue we talk about here today in terms of how people in a combat sport sometimes present themselves? I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. But for you think that
we'll reference
Canuto is too nice. Why is that? Why do you feel that?
Canuto's one of the nicest competitors I've ever met. I mean, clearly he'll break your arm if, he needs to, but he's a super chill guy. And if you've ever hung out with MMA fighters, they can be. It's possible. But by and large, not so much.
I don't know. I think you might have that wrong. I think he and his wife, Raquel, they play good cop, bad cop. That's what I think. I think he plays the nice guy, and she's over on the side, like, giving you the eye, man. And
she can do MMA.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And does it very well, we might add. So that already exists. The question is whether the nice guyness hurts Canuto. But he's a game competitor who gives you flashy AF stuff all the time.
He's skilled enough and athletic enough to make up for it. I wish the best for him. But he's just too nice of a guy, man. I can't see. He's going to apologize every time he hits somebody.
I've rolled with him. No apologies happen there. So maybe it just depends on the person is really what it comes down to. Gentlemen, I know that's a lot of good stuff, but just in case you've never tuned into the Bullpen, we are a show that will talk about major topics within the realm of jiu-jitsu. We wanted to give some love to Fight Pass Invitational. Obviously, we are here to preview a big event for Subversive Fight Club. And to do that, we go to our trademark board. So why don't we go ahead and look at that right now? Starting off the board this week, we'll go ahead and just address, I think, the first thing here, which is what exactly is the format for this broadcast? And for that, I'll give you a little bit of a start. We here at Subversive do a mix. Some events are going to be combat jiu-jitsu heavy. Some events are going to be BJJ heavy. We do a little bit of both. So sometimes we mix between the two, where we'll say, like, you'll get a jiu-jitsu match, a no-gi match, and then you're going to get a combat jiu-jitsu match. And sometimes people are concerned. Now, one person on our panel has a very, very good idea, but we are big believers of American-made violence here. So it's our hope that you'll see slams. You'll see every single kind of move. We don't really make too many things illegal here at Subversive Fight Club. So with that in mind, I wanted to go to you, Kevin, first to ask, what was your thought on how we should do things here at Subversive?
Yeah, I had an offer of a bit of advice on what I think could improve the level of excitement. I think you should flip a coin when athletes walk out for their match onto the stage and let them know whether it's combat jiu-jitsu or sub only. Like, just right there, hey man, by the way, this is combat jiu-jitsu. I have a second wrinkle that I've come up since having this discussion. 2 coin flips. You tell Kamoy, hey bro, oh my gosh, I can do balloons.
What did you
No,
do
Kevin.
for the balloons?
I'm growing in power, man.
Power, that's like the worst superhero power you could ever want. What can you do? I can make fire.
It's the
come out of
best.
my hands.
I can make balloons.
Balloons go in the air.
Balloons and thumbs up everywhere.
The amount of anger I feel being like, all right, gentlemen, put on a suit jacket. Let's really raise the level of our pre-show here. And this man is making balloons happen. All right, Kevin, please finish your thought on Kamoy.
Sorry. So you have 2 guys walk out there and you flip the coin and you tell them, hey man, this is a sub-only match. And then you flip the coin when his opponent comes out and you go, ooh, tough news. You're doing combat jiu-jitsu. You're doing sub-only. Best of luck, friend. You split it. So their opponent, this guy's like, listen, he's going to hit the shit out of you, but I better not see a single, nothing, not even a hard club, nothing that looks even vaguely problematic. He's going to hit the shit out of you though. So best of luck. Be ready to tap.
You know, you sold it a little different to me in the pitch, but in the end, you brought it back. Because at first you were kind of like, I don't know, maybe it'd be cool with this. You straight out said when we had our pre-meeting, you don't even tell them, they just walk out and you go, you're doing combat in this match. And I go, oh, I'm kind of down for that. Tim, what do you think about that as a possibility?
Oh, I think I think a mixed rules matchup, and Kevin, he really took it one deeper when he made it to where each opponent could potentially have a different rule set for them. Like, talk about really exciting matchups. The other thing that I really want to see out of Subversive, having been there and kind of seen it live, I think the walkouts, it should be a secondary competition as a fashion show. And each competitor should have to come out decked out with an entrance. Whoever wins that also gets to walk home with a little extra cash, because it's pretty damn entertaining.
You know, listen, I always tell people I am the wrong person to talk about shenanigans with, because I'll entertain them. So I don't know that it's a bad idea to begin with, but definitely something we can table for the minute. But why don't we move on to our next element? So what makes Subversive Fight Club a little bit unusual? We talked about the element of the combat jiu-jitsu. Yesterday, we saw an excellent program with Fight Pass Invitational. Featured 0 slaps, but was in an Apex center. So I asked this for our friends. I just saw the photo that Tim picked for this, by the way. I asked this for you guys. Kevin, how much does combat jiu-jitsu change for you as a competitor and as a viewer? I'll cut to you first.
As a competitor, way more than you'd think. way more than you'd think. If you're a jiu-jitsu practitioner and you think, yeah, it's just slaps, man, like I don't even worry about it. First of all, have someone hit you in training. Just let them know. They don't even have to do it hard. We've talked about it numerous times. Like you're in the middle of doing something, it's a well-worn path for you. Maybe it's a leg entry you're pretty good at. You're having a good time, and then they hit you. Yesterday, I was training with somebody, MMA guy, and I was half guard passing, and he pushed my head away and leaned back and just one touch. Nothing even crazy. What it does to your heart rate, it spikes it. Suddenly your cardio is all different. Oh my God, the thumbs up. Suddenly your cardio is everything's a little bit harder. Everything's a little more exhausting because your heart rate rose up. All of a sudden, these well-worn paths are not well-worn. It really changes a lot for you as a competitor. And that's not even talking about if that guy knows how to hit you. If he really knows how to hit with intention, you're playing a different sport.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I mean, you're definitely teaching at places that are known for having great MMA. So I can only imagine what you have to survive and endure, sir.
Yeah, you don't want Trayshawn hitting you.
Not at all. Especially when you're doing all that you can to help certain people named Baby Goose do stellar things. He does not look like he hits lightly, so
his eyes light up when you tell him you can hit him. You're like, yeah, man, it's cool. If you need to hit me, you can. His eyes light up. It's so messed up. It's so messed up.
Tim, how about for you? What changes as both a competitor and as a watcher, and for you especially as a coach, because you've been in this game for a long time, sir?
Yeah, I think Kevin hit it on the head. Really, there's guys that are like not training exactly for combat jiu-jitsu, and that it's harder for them to maybe find partners that are willing to really unleash on them. The difference now is most of these guys know how to strike. Like they're just not doing little patty cake slaps. They're raining palm strikes down. And when you get touched by a couple of those, your K-guard game plan, it goes out the window, and it becomes about, managing distance. And you better hope you've been training that way and you're kind of accustomed to some of that, or you could find yourself in a really bad position. As a viewer at home, it's super exciting to watch. If you're a jiu-jitsu head, you already love grappling. You want to see all that kind of stuff. You want to see the transitions and the submission, little minor details that are really big to you. But if you're not like a super jiu-jitsu head, you can appreciate still seeing somebody get slapped in the face. Like it's still pretty exciting. I gotta ask you this, Raf, are we doing slaps in overtime as well? Because I believe that was a wrinkle in the rule set that they had made.
Great question. I'm glad that you asked it, actually, because we have a unique rule set for our overtime. I'm not a huge fan of overtime, especially being the executive producer that has to make this thing like move. We actually do 90 seconds and slaps are involved, but I think we don't allow for submissions. Now, how does that change things? It's because we're actually looking for finishes at that point. So what that makes the guys do is, yeah, your wrestling has to come into play. But if you don't do enough to actually initiate wrestling, then guess what? We go to a get down rule. And you really don't want someone who's told not to submit you to go free reign with slaps. So
I love that.
Yeah, that's
there was
nice.
a lot of back and forth.
I love that, bro.
What it is that we wanted to do. And we had our people who were like, let's throw a weapon. And we're like, I don't think we can do that, gentlemen. And then you had people where it's like, let's do nothing. They're friends. And I go, well, that sucks too. So we eventually came to this hybrid sort of thing. And it's weird because the first time somebody went for a submission and then they were thinking about it, they're like, what do I do? And I'm like, I know, this is our science experiment. Let's figure it out together. So it has been wildly fascinating to watch and see happen. And I got to tell you, it's made some of the grapplers here kind of up their game. So that's been very fun to watch. So nonetheless, guys, that is kind of a good discussion on that. Why don't we now get to this next element, which is must see. So I know some of you may not know this full card. I don't expect you to know everything, but you might want to learn some things. And I'm going to come to you first, Tim. What are some of the things that people should know about tonight's Subversive Fight Club?
Well, first, and we hit on it already, but I want to reiterate it. It's a mixed card, so there will be grappling matches intermixed in with combat jiu-jitsu matches, basically, that have slaps. So pay attention for that. The other thing to look out for is outside of like the main event, right? Which I'm gonna let the other guys hit on because that's a big one. There's some other big names on the card, and there's one specific matchup I want you to look for. It is a combat jiu-jitsu rules match between Ian Morgan and John Chandler. This match is going to be fireworks. I promise you. John Chandler is on a run. He's yoking up. He's looking good. He's hungry. Ian Morgan is no joke. I've trained with this guy many times. He's an old school fellow Stocktonian. He's traveled all over, competed all over, and he's no joke. He's got great wrestling. He's pretty mean. He's got some MMA experience. So don't take your eyes off that match. It's going to be fireworks.
Thank you for previewing that one, Tim. I appreciate that. Ian is great. John, though. John actually threatened me at the press conference yesterday. So I don't know how I feel about that. You know,
I like him already.
Shut up, Kevin. I had offered to train with the guy. He was unable to train at the time. And I said, just this, at the end of the presser yesterday with him. I said, hey, man, good to see you. Hey, next time, let's do it in person and we'll actually train. And then he looked at the crowd and he said, Raf's about to get choked out. And I said, this was not confrontational. This was just, I'd like to train with you in the spirit of brotherhood, sir. And he just goes,
holy shit.
No, Raf's going to get choked out. And I go, okay, if we're talking realistically, it's not that you can't. I think you probably could. It's just that, what are you, $150? He goes, yeah, about that. And I go, okay, you're power bomb range for me. So go for your flying shit all you want. Unlike some of your buddies, you might be tossed into a trash can, and I have no ill will or reason to do it, but I will. And he just laughed, and he sent me a text message. He's like, that's why you're the best at what you do. That was so cool. My family was messaging me and telling me, and I was like, oh, the power bomb is real, kid. Like, I will 100% do that. I'm happy to train normal with you, but I know your work. I know what you're going to try and do.
I don't care what happens after you put someone in a trash can. You win.
That's what I'm saying.
Game over.
I'm like, dude. Yeah,
that should be the overtime criteria. Is there's a trash can, and if you manage to get them into it, you win.
I'm starting to take a look here to figure out if somebody gets like a trash can bonus. It's American Gladiators, the game where they just drop him in and you go, well, he won. Sorry, guys. That's just the rules. That's how we play.
It's the golden trash can.
Well, you know, that took up all of your time, so we unfortunately have to move on here. Why don't we go to our next topic, which is, where is this taking place? Well, here we are actually at Ovation, which is normally home to a bunch of church sort of events. Tim, you said that you've actually competed at churches. Does that change anything for you when you were at a different environment like that?
I didn't compete at a church, but I had some students who were competing, and this was like in 2014. We did a live podcast from the church tournament event. It was hosted by Kurt Oceander, who is a complete wild maniac. If you don't know him, he's a very popular West Coast
they let him in a church.
And yeah, I know. And so he ran this tournament in a church, and it was pretty freaking crazy because it wasn't like just some big multi-purpose room. Like, it was a church. We were in a sanctuary where they moved all the pews out, threw some mats down. I was up on the platform with the old school podcast board and my partner Big MF, and we were just doing it, man. I will say this, even though it was a church, it had the customary 2 inches of water on the floor in the bathroom, just to make sure everyone knew that they were at a jiu-jitsu tournament.
Thank you. The worst part is, Tim, I'm trying to run a classy event here, and you put fear into my face in a way that I was not expecting to have, because I'm like, no, that's not going to happen here. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So just know that. Guarantee here it's Subversiv. Kevin, for you, what is the weirdest place that you have ever competed at?
Oh, the weirdest place I've ever competed at? I've done several competitions in churches, and I will say it is a little different. The first one we did, PGF, the season 3 finale was in a church, and it started with Brandon McCaffron asking us all to please be respectful of that. Please, no cursing, keep it appropriate. Walkout songs are going to be appropriate. I'm like, man, this is really changing the vibe. Like, is this going to be different? Is it going to be whatever? And I step out to kind of watch the cards, the preliminary cards. And the very first match, somebody walks out and just breaks somebody's arm, audible as hell, just snap immediately. And he goes, yeah, let's fucking go after he does it. And I went, well, I'm glad it's still a jiu-jitsu tournament. And I walked out and went back in the back to warm up. So yeah. I don't know how much it changes, but it's a cool environment, but it's still jiu-jitsu, man.
I have to be honest with you. There have been a couple times where just talking the way I talk, I've had a moment where I go, all right, let's try not to curse as badly, or at least say the really bad ones. But as producer Raf, very few promises can be made because sometimes that's just the reaction I have. So it's been a mix of trying to be nice, poignant, and then when people surprise me with things, not fly off the handle with the normal language that you guys are familiar with on the show, which, by the way, I don't even think I'm afraid to use here. I'm just, in my effort to cut down, words are being more selectively spoken, slower, as to not be that guy.
I wasn't sure whether I could say the F word in that quote. Kind of like got halfway through it. I wasn't sure where we were on that.
And I didn't really brink on it, but this is going to replay for everybody as they walk in. So we'll see. Nonetheless, we move forward to our next one, which is this. Gentlemen, I have to ask you for some advice. Now, is that Dr. Ruth? Tim, who is this woman?
Yeah. Dr. Ruth. Come on, bruh.
No, Tim, we aggressively try to tell people how not old we are. And yet you put this up here in a way that challenges me to then distance myself from you. But yes, Dr. Ruth, a notable 80s reference for those of you alive during that wonderful decade. Nonetheless, I did tell both these gentlemen to prepare some statements on some advice they could give to our competitors, knowing that there is a mix of things. There is a mix of music being curated by our good friend DJ Mike Murda, who basically switches songs and DJs to the way that people are competing. With that in mind, the combat jiu-jitsu, the slams being legal, the possible overtime of just slaps without submissions. I asked this to our guys here. What advice do you have for people? And if you could make one final recommendation to me as to why I might entertain the thought of in a trash can gives you the win, I will open the floor to you both. Tim, you start us off, sir.
Well, here's the thing about Subversiv. The energy in person is really, really high. It's electric. It will raise the hair up off your arms. There's a lot of stuff going on. And I've seen athletes handle it one of two ways when they handle it successfully. Some guys, they put their earbuds on, they block everything out, and they're just in their own head, in their space, right up to the match. And sometimes those guys do well. The other side that I've seen, which I think is more pleasing to the fans, I think it builds your name up better, is you just start vibing with the crowd and the energy, and you start mixing in, and you get energized from that, and you take that to the match. Definitely the tension builds as the event goes on. Anything can pop off. I'm a witness to that, an eyewitness. So you got to pay attention. You got to watch it. And as a competitor, you got one life, man. You got one shot. So go out there and get it. Like, do your best and get it, man. That's my advice. And you got to have the trash can. If you don't use the trash can, if there's a baptismal at the church, give them a win if they throw them in the baptismal. Because that'd be pretty dope.
All right. Thank you for that, Tim. Let's go to you now, Kevin.
Awesome. I agree with Tim. Mom spaghetti. To to the competitors, I'm going to give you a little bit of pre-match advice. Tim was talking about the headphones. Don't do that. You can do it a little bit. You're going to compete without headphones. You have to get used to the energy and the noise. Take it a step further. Make sure you get out onto that stage, onto that mat, when the place is full, when the production is going, and when it's nice and loud. Nobody's going to stop you. Raf's going to try. He can't. Just walk by him and get out onto the stage and look directly at the crowd and look around and get used to that. Take that in before you're doing your walkout to go fight another human. Step out there, get used to it, get used to the energy, and you'll be a lot more prepared, and you can focus on your match when you walk out there. And if Raf tries to stop you, watch out for the power bomb.
Thank you. It depends on the weight class. Like, I've thought about this profusely. I do not think I can power bomb Kevin. Kevin's more of DDT style. Tim,
I got too much girth.
You know what? Like, I literally size up people on, can I pick this person up? And the answer is starting to get more aggressively no as it happens.
That's very old school, man.
It is, because the thing is, in certain threats, you don't have time to think. You're just like, well, you're getting dumped. I don't really need to do anything else. Tim is of the mindset of, I think he's equally, if not more broken than me, so I just have to break something of his. And that's kind of the thing that I kind of offset these things on. I don't know.
In a few years, just shove him real hard.
In a few years, I think I'm also just saying things like to Tim, like, hey, remember when you made the Dr. Ruth reference? And I guarantee you it'll cut him way more than anything I can physically do to him. Because he's going to be like, bro, why do you have to bring that up again? I was like, you put this photo up here, and it is very funny to me, and probably me. End of bit.
Yeah. Well, that's all I care about, man. I'm just trying to make us laugh.
God bless you for that. And, you know, listen, I love the idea of trying to tell people, like, jiu-jitsu can get bigger. We can make this a bigger sport. You guys just got to want. Oh, we put a Dr. Ruth reference up there. Yeah, that's just not going to play. Nonetheless, Egghead, you just showed up right now, but you showed up at a good time because you have made it in time for fights. Now, gentlemen, here's the thing about this fight, and I don't know how to tell you this, but Tim, sometimes you just send me stuff and I don't know what to do with it. This is one that I'm super excited about, but what can you tell us in a preview format? Like, what can we expect from this upcoming fight?
Well, this is a fight that pops off real quick and then gets sidetracked real quick. And then it kind of jumps around like lightning. It just moves. Since you're in a church like the Holy Spirit, it just jumps from one person to the other. It's a very entertaining fight. And also, the lovely Miss Freeman picked this one out for me.
Oh, hey, Tim, you got to cut that out because we may have to start putting her on as a producer. And I don't know how you'll feel if she has a higher rank than you on the show.
Oh, you won't like that. You won't like that, man.
So here we go. I'm excited for this one. Tim, walk us through this fight.
So the gold miner in the hat, he threw some quick hands at the dude who's holding, it looks like he's holding a jug of rum or Bacardi or something. Maybe it's Malibu. And then the fight jumps. It jumped from the guys to the girls. And now he takes a little swing, and he actually, at some point, the dude holding the liquor bun with it, you could see people from fighting, or if he's just like, no, not you. No, not you. No. Let me try to go fight you. Yeah, you're the ones.
Copy that. All right, let's do another stab at that one because I think, Tim, you were freezing up a little bit. So if anybody watching this live, my apologies. But nonetheless, Kevin, are you able to see this fight? Coming to you now, Kevin Sherrill, who I think was texting me off this, who just, by the way, this is the funniest text in the world to get, which is, did we freeze? And then see Kevin in his
he's
own
on
world.
camera.
He has no idea. I think this is like from the movie Frequency where it's happening 12 minutes ago. Nonetheless, Kevin, if you're hearing this, did you hear any of that, Kevin? Nope.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Wallow, I see that it did freeze up a little bit. So this is the part that's going to get cut for the main show. Yep, Kevin is doing the right thing, which is he is exiting and re-entering shortly. So we'll take one more stab at this this fight video, and then we will go. Oh no, he's just realizing right now and sent us in the group chat. Hilarious. Which he didn't know. I guess it was just that it was so innocent the way he was staring up like, am I on camera now? Kevin, do you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I'm back.
Did you recognize that you were not on camera when that was all going down?
I was on camera for that?
Yeah.
Or is he messing with me?
Yeah.
No.
That's funny. I was just sitting there hanging out on my phone, having a little sip of drink. I watched him break down that fight for about 5 minutes. It just slow-moed into it. The audio was still coming through, but it was super slow. And I was like, man, do I wait until this fixes itself? And then it stopped on the fight. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm not coming on camera anytime soon. Like, let me have a little sip, pet my cat. Like, really just make myself at home.
Hold on.
I didn't pick my nose or anything, right? We didn't see that.
You didn't. It was just, we saw you go into Ralph Wiggum mode, which is, you kind of had a moment where you just went, and you were at peace. And I didn't want to disrupt that because you were so happy in your own world, but that wasn't here. And then you get the text that I knew was not live and concurrent to that photo of you just going, did we freeze? And it almost read to me like, is we frozen? And I believe that Wallow J has the best take on this. Wallow basically pointing it out right now and saying, it's that Georgia Wi-Fi. So thank you for that.
I assume the church stream, like Subversiv went live as a test and just killed our stream.
I'll be honest with you guys. The facility here is up 140, which is some good internet. I don't know what's happening with y'all, but nonetheless, why don't we take one more stab at this and have earned the opportunity, if you can, to give us a narration on this fight. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you.
It's good. I've seen it in slow motion.
So here's the good news of this. It can be that this is what we take for the final broadcast that we put up in a little bit. But here we go. Here is that fight. Kev, take it away.
Oh, man. I love that. He comes out his shoes. He's in the New Balances. I love that the prospector showed up. Man, it does hop, doesn't it? I love that the prospector showed up, started this fight, and is now like, hey, guys, ladies, let's take it easy. Good Lord, with the overhand right with the rum bottle. That's wild. I love that he manages his distance, though. He swings it, misses, backs up, and is like, nah, I'm not the unreasonable one. Meanwhile, prospector has one lady in a rear naked choke and is fending off the other two who are trying to help him. It's mad interesting. I want to know what the sides are here. I don't want to know what started it. I don't care. I want to know what the sides are because I can't tell who's trying to help who. Look at this. He has walked away from yanking around some lady's hair and is going for the next one. You think this is like, good Lord, maybe he has a thing for wigs. He's trying to rip them off. This is crazy.
Let me just give you my
He said, we're all joining the bald gang.
Let me just give you my very quick recap on all this. So first of all, they're popping off, and you think they're going to be the stars of the show. No, new characters emerge, and they very quickly endear themselves to you. Now, they're going after it, and the gentleman with the hat, who I think is David Allen Greer, is looking at them and saying, ladies, ladies, and then he takes a sidewind. Now, this is what I want you guys to pay attention to, who are fighters. Watch everybody in this create a protective ring for these ladies to fight. And this gentleman, maybe you saw the booze make its way here. I was just going to say, do a cheers to say, like, ladies, good work. All right. I salute you. To those ladies who are about to fight at a gala, we salute you. And they're still going down. Lady in the
Where did Rum Guy go?
Rum Guy had another occasion he had to get to, so he just wanted to give it. The nicest part about Selena Dress is what I'm calling her, is that you could think this is done. But Selena dresses like weighing her options. Like, should I stay here? Should I go fight some more? And meanwhile, dude with the hat is still thinking like, hey, man, I'm really sad that my Mumford and Sons cover band did not see its way through. But nonetheless, we do have a quick thing. So we got to the fight. I did want to bring this up and very quickly get to it before we start to close out here. We also had a little bit of a confrontation yesterday at the press conference. The first time it's ever happened with me as the press conference guy, the guy who's doing the Dana Wright role now. So I want to ask you guys both very quickly what you thought of that. And let's put some time on the clock. Tim, what were your thoughts when Kamoy Anderson stole Noah Chen's belt?
Listen, I am of the mindset that you cannot snatch another man's belt. You can't put another man's shoes on. It's just one of those things you shouldn't do. But I tip my cap to Kamoy because it's the right thing to do at the press conference to build up the buzz. Noah Chen is a nice guy. He's awesomely talented. We saw that when he won the belt. But, you know, you might be able to rattle him a little bit. You might be able to get under his skin. Kamoy, you know, he goes hard in the paint. He's a tough grappler, and any advantage he can get, he's looking for. So I'm not against it. I would be perturbed if someone did it to me and I was the champion. But listen, that belt, if I was the champion, I don't care who's running that show. That belt would have been around my waist at the press conference, not sitting on the table. No way in hell I'm letting someone snatch that belt from me. Not going to happen.
Thank you for that, Tim. Kevin, what are your thoughts on that?
I love this clip. When I first saw it, it was amazing. Kamoy did his best to create a little bit of a confrontation, a little bit of excitement, really build into this matchup. And Noah just said, yeah, man, I guess you can have the belt, which is just encapsulates like jiu-jitsu versus MMA. We've belts get snatched in the UFC a bunch. Like Jose's belt got taken by Connor in the presser, and Jose like had to be held back. We've seen DC and John Jones. We've seen it time and time again. It caused fights at pressers. It's considered like a very bold move. And then you do it at a jiu-jitsu event, and they're just kind of like, yeah, all right, that's cool, man. I mean, you can hold it. It's a neat belt. Like, it's fine. Like, jiu-jitsu guys just too chill. They just don't. They're like, yeah, I mean, he's already got it. He's already got it. He can hold it. It's fine. Whatever. Jiu-jitsu, man. We just don't do it. We don't do the thing. We don't do the thing. Kamoy could have gone home with it. Noah's not doing anything. It's like, yeah, it's fine. They'll just mail me another one.
I think the wildest thing about this whole scenario was that people were like, why didn't you do something about it? Like, my friends who are pro wrestling fans thought that I should insert myself into this. And I thought, this isn't a three-way match. Like, what am I supposed to do? No one's actually fighting each other here. That's what you
should have done one thing and one thing only, and that is yell, Kombachi.
Yeah, but dude, I need them to tune in today. Like, every person who tries to produce this shows how bad they are at producing. Because I just did this. Oh, that looks good. You guys tune in tomorrow, 6 p.m. You know what to do. So when that happened, I just go like, no one's getting hurt here. We're good. And then afterwards, they carried on and they kept talking. Like, they kept going. Our social media team followed them. And it was so
Kamoy looks so confused.
Well, I will present this to you.
It's like he let me have it.
I think there was something funny about it. See, Kevin, you go the old school route. I went somewhere else, and this is the part that maybe didn't make it to air. First of all, Kamoy takes it from him, lifts up the belt, and is like, what do you think of that? And Noah just goes, okay. And when that happened, he was in the process of saying, oh, I thought you were going to do something. Oh. And it just deflated him in a way that I'm not sure he was expecting at that moment. So it made me really laugh where I go, okay, one thing happens. Let's say he loses. Okay, you knew it was happening because he stole the belt. The second thing happens and you go, oh, wait, now what are we supposed to do with this? Because if he wins, he's going to be like, yeah, I mean, I knew I was going to beat him, so I could let him hold the belt for 10 seconds. Womp womp. So it was a very strange occurrence. We'll see how it plays out. But Kevin, you were nice enough to pick up some comments for us, and we're gonna go ahead and put these up. And I just want you guys to get an idea of what the audience response was to these. This one, I think, explains itself. So
never touch a man's belt, man. I'm telling you.
Just saying.
That's his belt.
Pretty self-explanatory. Then there was this one, and I'll go ahead and let Kevin read this one.
Oh, yeah. I was not going to put that one up until I saw Kamoy responded. I was like, this would be an escalation. This would be an escalation.
So what did Kamoy say here, Kevin?
Yeah. So he said, that's actually a good idea. I'll take her next, bring her back to Texas. And I'm like, can you imagine, like, Kamoy comes to the venue with flowers? Like, listen, I said I'd do a thing. Would you be interested, ma'am? Maybe. I think it kind of like check yes or no. I really think this would be an interesting twist. Make sure the social media team's on it.
I definitely was caught offhand by that one, but you did give some love to our good friend Nunchuck, who had the following to say, which was the most pro wrestling of them. And Tim, what does this one have to say?
Oh, this is beautiful. String it from the rafters and have a ladder match. Amen, brother. I agree. Let's go.
Well,
add the trash cans in. You got yourself a whole set.
Kevin,
there we go. You gotta do it, Raph. You gotta do it. It's gotta be a golden cat trash can. It's so.
Who's gonna argue with that? Who gets put in a trash can and it's like, nah, I wasn't actually in the trash can. Like, we can all see, bro. That goes viral every time.
It's the first tables, ladders, trash cans, and that's the match that they're thinking now. Well,
if you see Raph at the event tonight, you go tell him that he needs to make this happen. We want a golden trash can. If you're walking by watching it, you go see Raph and you make sure they hear you and they make sure that they know.
These are all terrible ideas. Nonetheless, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give you guys a second to go ahead and plug your stuff. Tim, why don't you tell the people where they can find you, sir?
Yeah, you can find me on your favorite social media at Inside BJJ. We just had a great interview with Carlos Machado. Check that out. If you're in Nashville, come see me at 10th Planet Nashville. And if you're out in Stockton, go see my homies at 10th Planet Stockton. And big shout out to one of our instructors at 10th Planet Stockton. Bree Stick is on the card tonight. Best of luck to you.
Thank you for that, Tim. I now come to you, Kevin. Tell the people where they can come train with you or find you, sir.
Yeah, I'm at American Top Team Lima in Duluth. I'm at Superfly Jiu-Jitsu in Atlanta. And I'm Kevin Grapples on Instagram. Kevin Yapples as well, but you're not going to see much shit on there yet. Just go follow it.
The most
it's not letting up, man.
Unnecessary thing in the entire world is Kevin getting a 9th fucking Instagram account.
For real.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, I thank you for joining me. I will see you guys back next week in regular people clothes, not in the monkey suit and whatnot. But thank you for taking the time to preview this. And I'll go ahead and close this up. Thank you guys so much for watching. And make sure to watch tonight, 6 p.m. You want to be here Best Coast time. It's going to be a fun one. And you are watching Subversiv. It's a great event. We've done so many fun events, and we hope that you watch this one. It is going to be at Subversiv Official, so be sure to tune in there. Like and subscribe on that channel, and if you want to do it here at the Grappling Hour, it helps as well. So that's going to do it for us here. Thank you guys so much. It has been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.